Good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far. For you guys in Europe, hope you guys have a productive day so far. Welcome, guys, to another market update. We are going to be covering some basics once again. Let's go ahead and get started. As far as following my personal plan to give you guys a really good idea of how I usually dissect the markets, when I refer to majors, I am going to be referring to Bitcoin and USDT dominance. That is what I personally refer to as majors. Some people call majors the top 20 market cap coins. For me, majors is going to be Bitcoin and USDT dominance. Okay. So the first two things that I look at are going to be the majors. We kind of had this range that we draw during the weekend. So far, split out really well. We had this low time from distribution here to create this bigger range. Distribution, range high, range low, deviation into supply that we had marked. Then we had this mitigation of this extreme block of supply over here, causing this rotation back down. Price went up again to grab some sort of liquidity in here. Nothing really to be traded from a high probability trading experience. So there's really nothing to trade at this level. You guys can also see here, if you guys look at this side of the chart, how the price is slowly grinding down. So this price action is very vulnerable to just going up again because there's nothing to hold the price up. It's all liquidity. So as of right now, we can say we're chopping in the middle of the range, which is really not ideal to take any trades on leverage. So have said that, we remain patient. There is a couple scenarios where we are watching. For example, here in the bottom of this range, we do have this demand area here that we can mark on the chart. We're gonna put this green so we know it's demand. And now we have this low in here that is very close to getting taken out. So I have an alert in here. If we take out this low, we can potentially draw a range that goes from here to this low in here, and we can kind of start a new range in here on the side, and we can try to find some sort of trade where you have your one, you have your two. If we get acceptance back into the range, spend some time, get a three, and potentially trade these for higher. So we're going to be watching this scenario. That is something that I'm going to keep an eye on. But as of right now, there is really not a lot to trade on Bitcoin. Now, if we go to USDT dominance, you have exactly the same thing but inverted, where you have all this liquidity that is building here. So you're very vulnerable to get a reversal all the way to the bottom. And the USDT dominance, you have this green box over here, which represents demand and is a really nice area. So we can expect eventually for price to come here, tap, and go up again higher. So as of right now on this one, we also remain patient. Not too much to do with this. You can also see some sort of low time from distribution forming here with a one. Now you have a two, maybe you get a three over here that can push the price down. So nothing really going on there for now. We kind of spoke yesterday about Ethereum, how Ethereum is really in the middle of nowhere as well. So as far as Ethereum, the only two triggers that we have as of right now are going to be taking out this low and building a range from here, or taking out this area over here to look for trades. If we don't take out any of those two areas, there is no trade to be taken on Ethereum on the near future. One of the biggest qualities, guys, as traders is to be patient. So we need to have patience to get the direction from the market. Take out this low, take out these highs, or if not, we remain patient. So Ethereum, there is really nothing going on in there. Going into Solana, you have very similar price action where you're just chopping on this range. You are not taking the highs or the lows. This low is not taken, this high is not taken. You have liquidity above, you have liquidity below, supply in here. So there is really nothing to be traded on Solana at the moment neither. And it's something that I mentioned to you guys yesterday. Usually after you have a big move on the market, you're going to have a period of consolidation, and price needs time to rebalance and build new ranges that we can trade properly. Then going into Pepe, you actually have finally some sort of deviation. I want to clean up this chart a little bit. We don't need this old price action anymore. Let's take these out. Let's keep this big block in here. Let's mark over here these liquidity targets. And now we can see in Pepe, we're actually starting to take this low over here. So this potentially can be a range, but it's just getting started. It's still very fresh. It still needs more time to develop. We'll still want to see if price has some follow through to the downside, or if we get a deviation back inside the range and we go from there. I can already see here, there is some sort of block for support. This is what I call demand. So we're going to mark this on the chart. We're going to put an alert here, and we're going to wait to see what price does coming into that specific block. Then going into XRP, we can see it's a very similar situation like Solana and Bitcoin, where you don't have deviations on the sides of the range. You have liquidity above, liquidity below. So we're going to be patient in there. And then going into SUI, Mr. SUI does have some different price action, where you're very close to confirming a range deviation here, similar to Pepe, where you have this block down here that can be providing some demand and act as support. So we're going to be watching these over here. So alerts set here in the bottom as well. Moving into Dogecoin, similar situation. So based on what I can see, guys, most altcoins look the same, where they're trying to deviate the range low. However, we have to remember our majors, Bitcoin and USDT. We have to see what happens here first before we can take any trades on any altcoins. Because if a Bitcoin is going to dump, everything is going to dump. If Bitcoin is going to pump, the market has a chance of pumping. So we have to wait for Bitcoin to set the tone before we can think about taking any trades on any altcoins. But we can start to see some ranges are developing. Then going to our watch list that we're checking out this week. I was checking this out the other day on the stream with you guys as well, in the review. I was looking at this range here on this coin for a distribution. It's finally coming out to the supply block that I had marked. It took all the liquidity. Now we want to see if we can actually find a short on this one. So I am going to keep my eyes open on this one to see if we can short it. And these are the kind of coins I like to be more careful with because they are lower liquidity coins. You have coins like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, Pepe, XRP, SUI, Doge. Those have higher liquidity, so they are easier to trade because they have more market maker involvement. These other newer coins, they have less liquidity, smaller market caps, so they are not ideal to trade on leverage. You gotta take smaller position sizes on them, the slippage is bigger, etc. So they are not as ideal to trade. So now I would like going into New York. New York is about to open in 15 minutes. If this is gonna have some follow through, what I wanna see, its price go up here, take this block, and then find a short in here upon confirmations for lower. Now, this last move up was a little aggressive, which is not as ideal, but going to the lower time frames, it does look like it's mostly liquidity. There are not really any interesting POIs for support. We could say that this is a POI for support. So we're going to keep an eye on this one to see what price does from there. Something else we can check out. Let's check out. Let's take out this from here. Volume profile here. Volume profile is really not looking that great, guys. Most of the volume was down here. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one, but it's not as promising. I mean, I want to take only high probability trades. And this one, as of right now, has a couple things that are not ideal. We took a lot of liquidity here. So yeah, the only way this could be a trade for me personally is if we go up here, I'm going to put an alert here, and we get a nice rejection with clear structure that can lead into a trade. So I'll keep an eye on it, but it's not that interesting at this point in time. Going to Monad, we can see that distribution we're talking about on stream that they completed itself. We are watching this range. We didn't get the entry we wanted, but it's nice to see the concept playing overall. Rejection, short, take liquidity here at the bottom, completed the model. So really nice to see that. And I'm watching this for a potential long. Need some time to develop, so nothing there for now. Hyper liquid. I was watching this for a short, but it's going down slowly. You guys probably remember if you were paying attention to the Bitcoin video that when the price action goes down this is low, it can just reverse anytime. So not very interested on shorting these at this point in time. And then I was checking out this other coin, Canton Network, that is potentially developing a high time frame distribution model, but this is a very wide range from November to now. It's months. So it's gonna take some more time to come up here, take some liquidity and dump if it's meant to do that. And then was checking out this one as well for a short. I was looking at this boxing here. I was looking for this refined POI. We didn't get it. So I remain patient, guys. There is really nothing as far as short in there for now. Kind of going to some commodities. If you guys want to trade gold, I am watching at this range here. I am watching gold to take out this range high and see if we can get a distribution in here from this range. If this range fails, I will use this as exhaustion and look for another range up here. But gold is setting up for some nice distributions in the near future. There is three different things that can happen. We can get a distribution here and go lower, or we can get a distribution here and go lower, or the last scenario is going for the all-time high once again, getting a distribution here for lower. Any of the three scenarios we're prepared for and ready to execute. So we're gonna keep an eye on these ones. And upon confirmations, we're gonna trade these ones. Going into silver, Mr. Silver, I was actually looking for a long down here, but so far there is no trade. Ideally, what I wanted to see is price come here, get some sort of distribution here with a 1, a 2, and a 3, dump lower, and find a long in here to take for higher. So as of right now, it's still in work, still developing. You have some really nice liquidity below. All this is liquidity. So we can expect an easy flush if the price wants to come down and take those POIs. So keeping an eye on this one as well. Alerts are set. And then the last commodity that I like to check out is going to be oil. US oil. US oil, we are expecting a high time frame accumulation. We're expecting higher prices on oil. As of right now, there was a trade down here in the beginning of the middle of December. I took it, took some profits in here. I am ready to get it lower again. So I am watching oil to come lower for a new entry. So ideally oil, if we can get it here at this $54 price and get a long in here, this can be a really nice entry for oil. Other than that, guys, I'm remaining patient, looking at the S&P 500. The price action is super choppy on this one. There is lots of exhaustion on the S&P 500. Anytime this can break down on the near future. If it's gonna happen now or in 2 months, I don't know. But the S&P 500, it's starting to get very close to a macro top. Looking at the Japanese stock market, it's absolutely ripping. So there is nothing to be taken there as far as a trade for now. This needs some time. Waiting for this range high to be taken out. So I'll put an alert in here to see if we can find a distribution on the JP 225. And then last thing that I wanted to showcase to you guys is going to be the US dollar index. US dollar index is getting ready for a macro accumulation. So this can potentially go lower to go higher. Traditionally speaking, when the US dollar goes higher, crypto goes lower. So this is really a nice potential confluence for new shorts in crypto in the near future. So need some time to develop. I'm looking at this liquidity point here to be taken out. And if we get this taken out with proper confirmations, we can use this as a confluence to potentially short crypto in the near future. So I am expecting higher prices for the US dollar in the near future. And well, guys, that's going to be our market update for today. Other than that, there's nothing else. I'm going to be waiting here on Bitcoin to see if we can keep our plan for the previous days. of potentially taking out this high here, where we can find a distribution for lower, or if not, wait for this range here to be confirmed and find an accumulation here as well to take for higher. So whatever happens first, again, we are prepared for both scenarios and we keep going from there, guys. If you guys happen to have any questions, please let me know. I'll be pretty active around on Telegram. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care, guys.